What's going on YouTube? This is Ken from Ken's How To's and Reviews. I haven't posted a video in a while. It's been the holidays over Christmas and New Year, and I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things in 2024. And my first video I want to bring to you this year is an issue I'm having with my Zline 30-inch gas and electric stove. So the problem I'm having today is that my when the stove is turned to high bake, low bake, or convection bake, it does not heat up. The stove does heat up when turned to broil or convection broil. So that tells me a couple things. So the first thing I wanted to diagnose is this thing getting power? Which it was, because you can test the lamp over here. The lamp comes on, your stove is getting power. Another way you can tell is that when I turned it to convection broil, it actually worked. So everything is getting power. Now, nothing was wrong with the stove top or the gas elements here. So this one, the top elements were lighting, so electricity was getting to the stove. So we kind of narrowed it down that it either could be a switch in the back, a fuse, or it could be that the element itself was bad. So in one of these stoves, the element for bake is in the bottom. So there's a tray right here that you have to pull up, and you look under there and you'll see it. The broiler is up here along with the high bake element, which that one is working. There's your two fans for convection. So what I did is I just got curious and I pulled the stove out, cut the electricity, unplugged, pulled the breaker, and turned the gas off. Those are very important things you want to make sure you do before you mess with anything electrical. And what you'll see is this panel. So this panel is pretty easy to take off. I just used a Phillips head and I kept track of all the screws. So how to identify where your elements are is there's a top element, a broiler, and a high bake, and then there's a bottom element, which is your low bake and your convection bake. So what you'll find with these types of stoves, or I guess any stove, but just in my experience, is this insulation doesn't really protect the element wiring. And you can see we don't really use our broiler much, and this is the broiler element. You can see a lot of these are still intact. The rubber protection casing is still there. There's not a lot of corrosion up here. But when you go down to our bake element, we use this a lot. So here was our problem. These baking elements, the protective rubber casing was completely burned off of these. And when that happens, you start getting metal corroding. This one's still, it almost looks like a soldering iron was in there. You have like some metal that's been melted in there. Oh, see, look at that. It just came right off. I'm twisting it. But what else it did is this element is now ruined. So I can't rewire this to go back on there. I guess I could, but you see how this one, you can still slip this one over and make that work, but I don't have any rubber protective casings to go over it. So on this one, it just completely broke off. So it melted into the wiring. And this wiring's pretty bad anyway. So so I went on Zline and ordered a new bottom baking element. They only have 2 or 3 available, which they fit various models. I think this is the 30R. But the challenge with this is when I get the element, the back of this is easy to take off. What is not so easy is tracing this wiring up through these harnesses. Finding this black one shouldn't be difficult, but the wiring for this bottom element goes into the top of the stove. And the top of the stove also has to come off. So it's not just a simple change it out in the front, rewire it in the back. I'm gonna have to take all these off, trace them back up, open this top, take all this off, rewire the new wires, replace the bottom element, and then connect the wires back. So this video is more to help you identify what your problem could be, and we in fact found what the problem was. So I'll do a separate video on replacing all this back here, replace the bottom element wiring, and taking the top off in a different video. But feel free to ask questions, comment, and if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe. We'll see you next time.